Hello, it's Scott Manley here, and today I am looking at Elite Dangerous Horizons. Now, Horizons is essentially the first expansion for Elite Dangerous, and the meat of what it adds is a whole bunch of planets you can land on now. Essentially, mostly airless worlds. Most airless worlds you can land on them, and then you can get out and drive around in this little buggy. You can't walk around. But although that may come in some future juncture, who knows? But at the moment you get these little things. This is the SRV, Surface Reconnaissance or Surface Rover Vehicle. And the surfaces provide all sorts of features that you can't get elsewhere. They also provide the possibility of accidentally getting yourself stuck in the landscape if you quit the game while landed or while flying close to the surface. This is actually my Cobra Mark IV. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah, it's the next generation of the Cobra, and, well, it does include a self-destruct system, which is what I needed to use to escape being stuck in the landscape. I don't know if you've ever used the self-destruct system, but it essentially forces an overheat. Things shut down, things break, and after about 30 seconds, things actually explode. Unfortunately, you don't actually leave a hole in the ground. Look at that, 300% heat at this point. 10 seconds to go. What will die first? Will the hull collapse or will the thing explode? Nope, it's definitely going to explode. 400% heat and a big hole in the surface of this planet. Well, that's rather unfortunate. Okay, it's a good thing this is happening during the beta because that means I can fix it. Anyway, to fly down to the surface, you obviously need to have the navigation hardware to do that. Normally, frameshift drive has a lowest speed of about 30 kilometers per second, but as you get lower down, it'll switch over to orbital mode. You'll get this nice new heads-up display with a little pitch ladder on it, a little altimeter on the side, and a vertical speedometer on the side. And oh yeah, I guess there's some values there that indicate your latitude and longitude, which could be useful for hooking up with other players. You can take a look at the system map and you can find what planets have surfaces that you can land on, and some of them will have locations. Not all of the locations are locations that you can actually explore directly. This is Vias de Taurus Holdings. It's a surface installation owned by a third party that doesn't have any landing pads. It's not like a station or an outpost. All the same, they will complain if you fly over them. For example, I get a trespass warning, so decide to leave the area, except I don't do it quickly enough. I get a 500 credit fine for trespassing over their airspace, or space, their vacuum space. Vacuous worlds only. Anyway, if I want to get closer, I'm going to need to use the SRV, so that means landing on the surface. And landing this on the surface, of course, means finding a nice little flat area where the spacecraft, in this case a Cobra Mark IV, can put down safely. Now the SRV hangars, they require like a size 2 internal compartment, or larger if you want to have more, but size 2 is something that's available to practically every spaceship in the game, although you might have to make some serious sacrifices on some of the smaller ones. I wouldn't worry if you want to get involved and you've bought Horizons, you can probably fit it into whatever spacecraft design you like. So here's me just trying to get a little closer while trying to find a nice place to land here. I think I see it seems to flatten out here. So let's see if we can do it. I can see the glow of my lights starting to catch on the landscape below me. 10 meters, 9, 8, 7, 1. Oh, unsuitable terrain. Let's try moving back and forth just a little to see if I can find something. Oh, picking up a bit of dust here. There we go. Alignment okay. And landed. Excellent. So now I just look down here and deploy my SRV and off I go to investigate this installation. Now the SRVs, they essentially share a lot in common with the spacecraft. You know, they have the same displays and everything sitting around them. And many of the same features, but they have obviously the ability to drive over the ground, assuming you don't catch yourself on the spacecraft. Again, this is a beta. Things happen in betas. Let's get out of here. Come on. Try going this way, and we've escaped. Okay, thank you. Whoa, and we seriously slide around there. Try not to hit... Oh, yep, no, I hit my nice new spaceship. Now, in addition to the Cobra Mark IV, there's some other new ships coming to the game as well as part of this release. And they will be available to people without the Horizons expansion. So a number of the features in Horizons are being carried or backported or whatever, being made available in the regular game, and they will still share the same universe. You just won't be able to land on the planets. Now, some of the new ships, well, obviously the Mark IV, the Cobra Mark IV, I believe there's a new Viper. There's the Keelback, which is like it's a gunned up version of the Type 6, cargo ship. And then at the high end, for the most extreme, big whale of players or whatever that have done great things for their empires, you have the Imperial Cutter and the Federation Corvette. I think these are now the largest ships in the game, although I could be completely wrong on that, so feel free to correct me, I won't be unhappy with you. Okay, so look at this installation here, it's quite big, a nice amount of detail here. Now, I've been here before, and I'm really not sure what I'm supposed to do. There are these things called data cores, data nodes, data points. And you can scan them, and there's a data scanner on the thing on the SRV, but I haven't been able to get it to do anything. It's assigned to a button. Holding the button doesn't work, tapping the button doesn't work. I've no idea. So I'm presuming this is a feature which either is buggy or is yet to be fleshed out, or will be explained to by someone that actually understands the game. Regardless, I drove around this. There is a big front gate here. Remember, I flew over. It looks like there's a courtyard and there's a giant front gate. So perhaps there's some secret trick that you can do to get that to open by hacking the nodes or hacking the security station, or maybe just placing a phone call to, the person in command and saying, hey, have you got a job for me? Maybe you got to get your status up. I don't really know. So instead I decided to take a very Kerbal approach to getting in there. I mean, this thing doesn't look hugely fast, but you got to factor in that I'm not even using 100% of the throttle. If I try to use 100% of the throttle, typically the thing will catch on a rock and bounce and skip and flip around. But yeah, if I get this set up right, and I drive over to this little area here, turns out there's a bit of a lip here, which looks to me like a ramp. Yes, so let's try and line up and jump this giant gap here. This is going to be a little careful here. Let's try and get myself lined up so I hit this thing at the perfect angle. The other thing this has is little rockets, little booster rockets that lift it up. And supposedly, it also has little rockets that push it down, because some of the planets you're going to drive on are very low mass. Here we go. Full power to the engines as well. Get ourselves lined up, and throttle up, throttle up, throttle up, throttle up, and go, and boost. Use the boosters, lift myself up. Look at my vertical speed. Now just gonna try and keep using it to control my descent. Control, alert, alert. Oh, ow, ow, oh, ow. Hey, I'm sitting here. Oh, completely blew this. Okay, turret up, get the turret up. Warning, 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 alert. Leave area to avoid sanctions. Yes, I'm just trying to target this defense turret. What is this? There, yes. Bingo! That's shooting at me, but it is dead. This SRV is not without teeth, even if I don't know how to use it. So yeah, there we go. We did this giant jump into this area here. Wouldn't it be cool if I were rewarded with some awesome loot or something for that? And actually, beyond these installations that are marked, you will find all sorts of little anomalies and scannable sites and stuff on the surface. You see that there's a little scanner above my regular scanner. Oh, look, and there we go. We have a little skimmer here. The skimmers are the kind of hostile NPCs, or potentially hostile NPCs, that you get when you're on the surface. So this one I found, as I drove up, I don't know if you noticed, the canister just rolled out of it, because I was going downhill. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun? I could just chase this canister of coffee down the hill. It's a giant coffee can. A giant can of coffee there, a whole ton of this stuff. And you can scoop it up using the little scooper, the little cargo scoop here. There we go. Coffee on board. We are going to have some serious Java when we get back to the ship. Back in the solar system, I thought I'd pay a visit to Pluto. After all, Pluto has... well, we've had our first really good look at Pluto this year, so I was wondering if they had spent any time updating the surface. But more interestingly, even though Pluto itself is not landable, Charon, the moon, actually is. Which I find interesting because Pluto does have an incredibly tenuous atmosphere. I wonder if there's some threshold above which the atmospheric pressure becomes too high and they won't let you land, or if it's just an arbitrary list or if there's some other arbitrary rules. So look, there's Charon there. Oh, and there's Uranus. That's where a lot of the comments on my videos would appear to come from, right? Ha! No, that's a terrible joke. Charon, yes, we are approaching it from the dark side, which is actually appropriate given the number of dark names that have been given to parts of Pluto. I mean, okay, those regular, there was obviously the references to Tombaugh and Edgeworth and all these important scientists, but then on Pluto we also get places named after the Balrog and Cthulhu, but those places are actually nothing compared to the amount of nerd power that Charon has in its naming. I mean, seriously, it's like astronomers are nerds or something. We have things named after Gallifrey, Mordor, Kubrick, Clark, the Nostromo, Star Wars. God, there's so many Star Wars. There's Spock, Sulu, Uhura, Ripley, Captain Nemo, Leia, Alice in Wonderland. Oh, Serenity, Macross, and oh, actually, there we go. I wonder if these are actually modelled on the real chasms, right? So there's one that's named after, there's a Serenity chasm, there's like a TARDIS chasm, a Macross one, and I think I'm going to actually try flying down this one. Hopefully, maybe it's the TARDIS one, maybe it's bigger on the inside than it appears from space. And there we go, dropping out of orbital speed into glide slope. Glide slope is a constant 2.5 kilometers per second. And then when you get below another threshold, it switches you to just plain old flying around. But it seems to fly you around at much lower speed. Oh, I should have flattened that out just a bit. I'm going to come out of glide slope any minute now. Yes, glide complete. It's not really a glide. I mean, there's no atmosphere to glide in, right? There we go, maneuvering down Macross Chasm. So, if you're wondering why they put all the cool names on the moon, the reason, or, on Charon, the moon of Pluto, the reason is that the IAU had strict rules in place before this encounter that basically said, Pluto is the god of the underworld, so all the names have to come from underworld mythology, or, named after people or whatever, right? So if you're using a fictional name, it has to come from mythology. So yeah, I guess they figured that Lord of the Rings and H.P. Lovecraft are now old enough that they can be considered mythology rather than merely fiction. But on the moon Charon, the rules were less strict. It didn't have that strong association. Charon, I think, is the ferryman, so fictional destinations worked, I think. So yeah, Vulcan and Gallifrey are A-OK. And I don't know, I mean, maybe the IAU will approve these, maybe not. They certainly approved, there's a couple of things on Titan that are named after Frodo and Bilbo. So, fictional, nerd fiction is totally supported for features. Anyway, careful landing, let's get out and take another drive around here. This place is interesting because Charon has way lower gravity, right? I think the gravity is something like 3% of what you would get on Earth. But the SRV is, of course, a miracle of, 1,000-year in the future technology. No, it has little jets that push itself down onto the surface to help it drive reasonably well. Oh, there's Pluto hanging in the sky there. I don't know, I kind of hope that they improve on that just a bit to make it look closer, or maybe more obvious. Maybe I'm just looking at an unfamiliar angle. I have uncovered this rock, which is a deadly threat, no doubt. I just need to make sure I eliminate it so that it will not threaten future travelers on the surface of Charon. The travellers that have come from far and wide to visit places that have cool names. Ah, there it goes. Oh, look at the fragments. See those fragments sail gracefully through the air in, yeah, but 3% of the gravity of Earth. Look at them. They got just the slightest little kick, and they will eventually land on the surface. There it is. Look at it. Moving there. Gotta make sure my cargo scoop is open. Don't bounce! Yes, there, it didn't bounce. Okay. And we'll just drive over it, and we shall have some minerals. So this is another thing you can look for. You find these... They're not the same as minerals from mining. They're more like elements. I'm not sure what the official designation is. Hold on. It says... You find these, and it's just a material. Now, materials are important for crafting, but also... never mind that. I'm in a crater. Let's see how far I can jump this thing. Come on! Gun the thing! Full speed ahead. And off we go. And then make sure you use the thrusters. What does it look like? Oh, just gotta adjust this. Look at it! Flowing through the sky. Flying through the sky. Oh! Whoa! Whoa! I'm wondering if you could do that scene from Armageddon where you turn off the downforce engines. Anyway, yeah, the materials. This is one thing you can do. You can find materials all over the surface. They show up in the scanner. And as you collect enough of them, you can then craft things. Now, the crafting is pretty much things like refuel your ship with more awesome fuel, replace ammunition, and so you can just get a simple reload of your ammunition, or you can reload your ammunition with ammunition that does twice as much damage. So there's actually a real incentive to do this, since you can't actually buy this stuff on the market as far as I can tell. You have to make it yourself, and then of course you blow it all, killing other players that can't cope. Oh, here we go! Look! Flying! Once again. Oh, this is so much fun zipping around like that. I think the gravity in Charon is actually higher than what it should be. Let's do this once more. Yay! Somebody has posted an image already of somebody trying to... Well, so basically somebody landing their rover on top of somebody else's ship, and then watching said spaceship try to take off into the sky. But it also turns out, by the way, that the rovers do ridiculous amounts of damage to spaceships they're sitting on. So if you wanna kill other players... just land your rover on top of their spaceships, assuming they don't fix that bug. It would be quite funny to just see these rovers jumping on the back there. Look, this is my Cobra Mark IV. Can we get in under here? Yes, excellent. Just look down below as I try to adjust my position. And, board ship. And then we can say farewell to Charon. Carry our new materials out, whatever. I mean, the idea being that you will be able to refill your ammunition and everything in deep space. If you are on a trip to the core of the galaxy, you can do some new things. There, look at the list of stuff. You can repair your SRV, get munitions, you can repair things, you can inject stuff into your FSD, your frameshift drive, to make it more powerful. So yeah, this is the crafting feature that has been talked about. It seems rather simplistic, and they don't really explain how these materials are magically processed on your spaceship. But hey, they don't really explain why the spacecraft fly according to some strange laws of physics that limits turn rate. The reason they do that is, of course, gameplay. And I'm quite happy with them making decisions that improve gameplay. So yeah, Elite Dangerous Horizons, it's in beta right now, and we hope to see it getting cleaned up and get ready for release before Christmas. Until then, I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.